I thought Ashley and I had it all. College sweethearts, married for 5 years, building a life together in a city we loved. I worked as a software engineer, and she was a rising star at a marketing firm. We had a beautiful apartment, a shared love for hiking on weekends, and what I believed was an unbreakable bond, or so I thought. The first crack appeared subtly. Ashley started working late. A lot. Big campaign, she'd say, looking tired but exhilarated. Then came the business trips, which became more frequent. I tried to be supportive. Her career was taking off, and I was proud of her. But a seed of doubt had been planted, and it was starting to grow. The late nights turned into missed calls and vague texts. The distance between us grew from miles to an emotional chasm. I'd wait up for her, the dinner I cooked growing cold on the stove, only to receive a short message saying she was staying with a colleague to finish a presentation. The excuses were always plausible, but my gut screamed that something was wrong. I'm not the jealous type, but the constant evasiveness was eating away at me. I tried talking to her, telling her I missed her, that I felt like we were drifting apart. She'd just brush it off, saying I was being insecure, that I should trust her. She made me feel like I was the problem, that my feelings were a burden on her high-flying career. The breaking point came on our 6th anniversary. I had planned a surprise weekend getaway to the cabin where I proposed. I took 2 days off work, packed our bags, and even bought her a beautiful necklace I knew she'd love. I was buzzing with excitement, hoping this would be the spark we needed to reconnect. I called her that afternoon, expecting her to be at her office. But her colleague Sarah answered. When I asked for Ashley, there was a moment of awkward silence. Tira told me Ashley had taken the day off for a personal retreat. My heart sank. A personal retreat on our anniversary? Sarah sounded uncomfortable, and I didn't press her. But I knew. I drove home in a daze, my mind racing. When I walked into our apartment, it was empty. On the kitchen counter was a note. It wasn't a love letter. It was a cold, clinical message saying she needed space and was staying at a hotel for a few days to think. The worst part? Lying next to the note was a hotel room keycard, not from a local place but from a fancy resort 2 hours away, the same resort her company was holding a conference at. And her boss, a charismatic guy named Mark, was leading it. Suddenly, it all clicked into place. The late nights, the trips, the secrecy. I felt like a fool. The man who prided himself on logic and reason had been completely blind. The pain was sharp and visceral, like a physical blow. But underneath the pain, a cold, quiet anger began to simmer. She thought I was weak, someone she could easily discard. She was about to find out how wrong she was. I didn't confront her. I didn't call or text. I let her have her personal retreat. While she was away, I did what I do best. I gathered data. I'm a software engineer, and my world revolves around information. I started with our shared finances. It was a digital treasure trove. Credit card statements showed lavish dinners I wasn't invited to, hotel bookings that weren't for her solo business trips, and expensive gifts I never received. The recipient was always Mark. The betrayal was deeper than I could have imagined. This wasn't a recent fling. It had been going on for over a year. She'd been living a double life, funded by our joint account. She wasn't just cheating on me. She was stealing from me to do it. My anger evolved into a plan, a cold, calculated plan for justice. She thought I was just a quiet, unassuming tech guy. She had forgotten that my job is to find vulnerabilities in complex systems and exploit them. And her new life with Mark was a very complex, very vulnerable system. I discovered that Mark wasn't just her boss. He was married. His wife, Emily, was a prominent figure in the city's charity circles, from a very influential family. Mark's position at the marketing firm was largely thanks to his father-in-law's connections. This was a house of cards, and I had just found the bottom one. I created an anonymous email account and compiled a neat, undeniable dossier. It included the hotel receipts, the credit card statements with highlighted expenses, and screenshots of their not-so-subtle social media interactions. I wrote a simple, direct email laying out the facts of the year-long affair and attached the evidence. The email had 2 recipients, Emily, Mark's wife, and the CEO of Ashley and Mark's company. I didn't add any emotional commentary. The facts spoke for themselves. Then, with a steady hand, I clicked send. and I waited. Ashley came home 2 days later, all smiles, talking about how she'd had a lot of time to think and realized she'd been neglecting our marriage. She presented her little speech like a rehearsed marketing pitch. She said she was ready to recommit to work on us. I just sat there on the couch watching her, my face a mask of calm. I let her finish her entire performance. When she was done, I simply said, "Is that so? How was the resort with Mark?" The color drained from her face. She started to stammer to deny it, but her eyes gave her away. Before she could spin another lie, her phone buzzed. And then it buzzed again and again and again. She looked at it, her expression turning from panic to sheer horror. The fallout was swift and spectacular. Mark's wife, Emily, didn't just leave him. She filed for divorce and made sure her father knew every sordid detail. In 24 hours, the CEO had called an emergency board meeting. By the end of the day, Mark was fired for gross misconduct and misuse of company funds. Ashley wasn't fired, but she might as well have been. Her reputation was in tatters. The rising star had become a pariah. Colleagues, who once admired her, now looked at her with contempt. Her career, the very thing she had sacrificed our marriage for, was over. She came to me, begging, crying, saying she'd made a terrible mistake. She said she loved me and that Mark meant nothing. But I saw her for what she was, someone who saw my kindness as weakness, my trust as an opportunity. I had already packed her bags. I told her to leave. The divorce was quick. Thanks to the financial evidence I had, the settlement was heavily in my favor. I got the apartment, and she was ordered to pay back the money she had spent from our joint account on her affair. Some might call what I did revenge. I call it balancing the scales. Betrayal has a price, and I simply made sure the bill was paid in full. I had to tear down the life we built to save myself, but from the rubble, I started to build something new, something stronger, on my own terms. I learned that my quiet strength wasn't a weakness. It was my greatest asset. And I learned that true power isn't about being the loudest person in the room, but about knowing when to make your move. Thank you for listening to my story. If you've ever felt underestimated, remember your own strength. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more true stories. See you next time.